Hello and welcome to our webinar series on GSC AML inspections. Today, this video will cover AML CFT compliance culture and includes the following topics: policies and procedures, monitoring and testing compliance, foreign branches and majority-owned subsidiaries, and whistleblowing and keeping up with new and emerging typologies. Operators are required by the Gambling Code to establish AML CFT policies, procedures, and controls prior to going live. This integral compliance framework must then be operated and complied with in full to establish a culture of compliance across its business. A common finding is that whilst operators may demonstrate excellent technical compliance, a deficiency is found in putting policies, procedures, and controls into practice. Examples of findings commonly include that practical processes are not reflecting procedures, potentially from staff not receiving sufficient training. B2B and B2C operator policies and procedures must be risk-based in line with the findings of their business risk assessment. These considerations are then reviewed and approved by senior management, i.e. MLRO, AML CFT compliance officer, and at least a director establishing a tone from the top, feeding down the risk mitigation strategies and operational plan the operator has taken in line with risks posed to it. The inspectorate expect policies and procedures to be under continual review to align with both changes to internal processes as a result of external sources such as updated legislation and guidance, and following the release of a national risk assessment or risk appetite statement, for example. Examples of things you could use to demonstrate your effectiveness include maintaining up-to-date, clear version control outlining who updated or approved the document and when, noting their role and what amendments have been made. Avoid abbreviations unless clearly defined within the document. Maintain board meeting minutes if a meeting was used to approve a document. And maintain previous versions of a document, as it is useful to compare updates if required. Some good practices include possessing an online or physical library of documents for all staff to access easily, update procedures and controls immediately following any change, and maintain a register of all policies, procedures, and controls tracking review dates. Monitoring and testing compliance. Operators are required to implement AML CFT programs to monitor and test compliance against the relevant AML CFT legislation with an evidence process. As with the GSC's own AML CFT inspection process, the testing of AML CFT compliance should include both technical and effectiveness assessments. A technical assessment is to ensure the policies and procedures are in line with AML CFT legislation and guidance. An effectiveness assessment tests how the policies and procedures work in practice. This enables any identified non-compliant areas to be remediated promptly. As part of the process, the AML CFT compliance officer must submit a report at least annually to senior management, which describes the operator's AML CFT environment and any updates to legislation, updates on any internal developments to procedures and controls, and the results of any sample testing undertaken. Some examples of things you could use to demonstrate your effectiveness include ensuring AML CFT compliance reports are clear, describing any deficiencies found and action undertaken. Clearly documented customer sampling undertaken, detailing its basis, for example by rating of risk, jurisdiction, deposit method, etc. And staff spot checks on awareness and location of policies and procedures. Good practices include engaging an independent third-party expert to perform an audit on policies and procedures to enable an unbiased view and a fresh pair of eyes. Assess effectiveness throughout the year. For example, an operator could look at the customer risk assessment process one month and PEP and screening the next. Submit AML CFT compliance reports regularly. For example, quarterly reports updating senior management on any concerns or issues. Does the company have any foreign branches or majority-owned subsidiaries? If so, are they subject to group-wide AML CFT policies and controls? Where an operator has any foreign branches or majority-owned subsidiaries, they are expected to ensure the entities apply AML CFT measures to an Isle of Man standard. The FATF recommendations aim to create a level playing field of requirements around the globe and to prevent global businesses from having an arm of their businesses with poor AML CFT controls that acts as the gateway for illicit funds into their structure. As it is not expected that many operators will fit this category, the GSC would be pleased to field any queries from operators who are unsure whether these requirements apply to their structure. A way of demonstrating your effectiveness could include demonstrating any review and analysis of the AML CFT requirements across jurisdictions and what action was taken. Good practice tip: liaise with the GSC within a reasonable time frame in instances where there may be conflicts in legislation. Have there been any instances of whistleblowing? If so, was the policy followed? Licence holders are recommended to have a whistleblowing policy or mechanism in place, kept up to date and approved by senior management, where concerns of staff can be reported and dealt with appropriately. The inspectorate may request for a copy of the whistleblowing mechanisms as part of the inspections process. New and emerging typologies. Do you do your best to keep up with new and emerging typologies, especially in relation to gambling? The inspectorate will expect to see that operators keep up to date with emerging typologies through various mediums, whether this is via typology outreach from the FIU or GSC, external training, attending sector-related conferences, updates to the island's national risk assessment, reading bulletins, or watching webinars like this one. Some examples of things you could use to demonstrate your effectiveness include: ensure training includes a description on whistleblowing and its process. Maintain personal training logs to demonstrate any attendance to external training and conferences. And maintain emails or correspondence informing staff of new and emerging typologies. Good practice tips: pass on any useful and new information to all staff. Regularly review materials or updates provided by the regulator and competent authorities. In conclusion, ensure appropriate AML CFT policies and procedures are in place prior to going live. Ensure policies and procedures are kept up to date, approved by senior management, and contain a clear version control. You must have systems in place to monitor, test, and report your own compliance with the AML CFT legislation. It is recommended that you possess a clear whistleblowing policy and process. Finally, operators are recommended to keep up to date with new and emerging typologies, ensuring any relevant information is also passed on to other staff and that policy and procedures are revised as needed. For more information on AML CFT inspections, please see the playlist on our YouTube channel or go to the guidance on our website.